Hello there, friends, and welcome back to my channel. It's Amy here, and I am excited to share with you something brand new that I just started experimenting with on Sunday. So it features a new product that is found in the Close to My Heart Core Idea book that went live on August 1st. And that new product is right here, featured on page 86. It is the stamping foam. So this is what the foam looks like. And you get 4 in a pack, which is really cool because these are reusable and they're like magic. So the other product that we need to use with this is the heat tool. Now, I learned very quickly, I had the old heat gun for heat embossing. That I was told that the heat tool will work much better with this technique. And I quickly ordered it and it came yesterday. And so I tried it last night and it definitely works better. So I do highly recommend the heat tool. And I have my friend and fellow maker up in Canada, Chelsea, to thank for that tip. So without further ado, we are going to get started. Now, what you can do with these stamping foams is more or less create your own stamps. So I wanted to do something with snowflakes, and I didn't have snowflakes stamps that they weren't the right size and the right look. So I pulled some of my thin cuts that I had from the past. Now these thin cuts have since retired, but any thin cuts will do. The other thing, even if you do have stamps, you can use your thin cuts and you get a totally different look. You kind of get the negative look to it, and you'll see what I mean in just a minute. So what I'm going to do is kind of lay my thin cuts out the way I want them, and then I'm going to take my stamping foam, and you want to heat it. And this is where the heat tool heats much quicker than the heat gun. So I'm going to turn this on, and I am just heating up my stamping foam. The other thing that's nice about this heat tool is it's not very noisy. The heat gun is very noisy. So I'm just heating this foam up to get it good and hot. And then I'm going to stamp it down on the thin cuts. Now, when I laid my thin cuts out on my all-purpose mat, I made sure that they were facing up. So the side that you would run through your die cut machine to cut, that side is up. Okay? And then I am just going to stamp this foam into the thin cuts. This is only about my 3rd time doing this, so there you can see that we have our images are stamped into the foam. Now there is a little bit of blank space there, so I think I am going to bring in another thin cut for right here. And if you look at this, I didn't get a very good impression here. So I am going to want to do this again. And what's cool about this is if I heat this, all these images will go away, and that's where it's reusable. So I'm going to go ahead and heat this, and you can watch the images go away. So we'll pretend like I meant to do that. The other thing I've been told is that once you create your stamp, which is what we're more or less doing here, it lasts a good 2 weeks. So hopefully the camera's picking up and you can see how all that image, all those snowflakes are going away. And at the same time, I'm heating my foam up again. And we're going to try it one more time. And I'm not quite sure yet. I'm still new to this technique, so I'm not quite sure, you know, how hard I need to press into this foam. But because I am on camera, I'm wanting it to come out good. And I'm sure once I do this more and more, I'll get a good feel for it. And the same will happen to you. Much better. It's still a little bit light down there, but I'm going to take this. So I really like that. So you can see it's a little bit light down there, but I'm going to keep it like this. Or should we try it one more time? Let's try it one more time, just so I can show you the magic of erasing it. We'll try one more time. So I'm just heating this again. And hopefully you can see how all the indentations are going away. So you can reuse this over and over again. So we are using this with thin cuts. I'm also going to show you how you can use it with an embossing folder. But what's cool about this is you can use it with anything. Think about anything in your house or fabric. I was thinking of maybe getting one of my daughter's ballet costumes, maybe like the tulle, and trying it with the tulle. That's on my list to try. Or you can do a sweater with the wool, all those like knit and purl stitches. So many different things. All right, we're going to try this one more time. And again, I'm still new to this, so I'm not quite sure if it's even necessary for me to press down as hard as I am. But I am wanting to get a good impression so you can see how cool this is on camera. I'm also being careful not to move my foam because I don't want it to get blurry, the images to get blurry, if that makes sense. All right, let's see how we did. It seems like I'm not getting the last two times the outer edges. So I'm just making sure the outer edges, I hope. Perfect. All right, there we go. Still a little bit light there, but I'm going to take it. And again, this is something, the more you do, the better you will get at it. So I'm going to put my thin cuts away. And then we're going to let that sit for just a minute. And we're going to try another one with the embossing folder. So this is a snowflake embossing folder. This is retired. I think it came out last year, but we're going to go ahead and try it. And I am using it so that the raised embossing area is up. You could do either one depending on the look you're looking for. So what we're going to do is heat our block and then just press it down into the embossing folder. And this heat tool does get hot, so be careful with your hands. But I do like this much better than the heat gun. Okay. And we're just going to press down on the embossing folder and get another impression. So we're doing the exact same thing, just we're using the embossing folder instead of the thin cuts. So as you're watching me do this, think about the different thin cuts you have or the different embossing folders you have. Think about things around the house. Think about fabric, all the different things that you can do this method with. And I don't spend a whole lot of time on mixed media, but the more I do it, the more I'm really having fun with it. And it's actually very quick. So you can see there is my embossing folder, and I'm really liking the way that came out. All right, so now let's go ahead and get inky. So I have a piece of white cardstock, and we'll go ahead and we'll start with the thin cuts. And what I'm going to do is take my Harbor ink, and I'm just going to ink up my stamping foam. The other thing with this technique is, you know, it doesn't have to be precise. This technique kind of reminds me back in the day when we would carve potatoes and use those to stamp with. Okay, I think that's good. And then I am going to, it's a bit weird because you can't see where you're stamping. We're so used to clear blocks. Now I guess I could put the white daisy, put the foam face up in the white daisy on top of it. Maybe we'll try that with the next one. So I'm just applying some pressure. And again, I'm not sure if this is necessary, how long I'm doing this for. I just really want a nice crisp image for the sake of being on camera. And I'm sure that, like everything else, the more I do this, the better I'll get. So there we have it. How fun is that? Let me clean my all-purpose mat. And like I said, the look that you get is the snowflakes are white and then the background is filled with the ink. So I'm really liking that one. So let's go ahead, and then to clean this, I'm just going to run it under the faucet and clean it. And this image should stay good. You know, Chelsea taught me, she said her images were staying good for about 2 weeks. But if you find that it's starting to fade, just heat it up again and erase it and then make another one. Super easy. So let's go ahead. We're going to put this aside for a minute, and I have a card base and a piece of white daisy cardstock that's cut 1/4 inch smaller than our A2 card. So I'm going to take our November stamp of the month. I thought that this big snowflake mandala went really well with the snowflake thin cuts. So I have that on my ink pad, or on my block. Let me pull in my desk pad really quick. And I'm gonna use my lilac purple. This is a retired color, but I love how it looks with the Harbor. So I am just going to ink this up. Now this is a big stamp, so when I have big bold stamps like this, I like to put the block down with the stamp face up and then take my ink pad to the stamp. And this is a way that you could ink up your stamping foam as well. So I'm just inking this up, and then I am going to random stamp this piece of white daisy. So the look I was going for is light snowflakes, behind it in the background. Okay, you can see that. We'll do a little bit more. The harbor and the purple just remind me of winter. So where you are, is it feeling like winter? Is it feeling like the holidays? It's definitely not feeling that way where I am. It's been unseasonably warm here in Charleston, but the colder weather is coming. There's a tropical storm / hurricane on the horizon. I guess it's supposed to bring heavy winds tomorrow, which is going to drop the temperature, which I am excited about because I am a Four Seasons girl, and this time of the year, I don't want to be wearing shorts. All right, so there we have our background. And then what I'm going to do is just distress the edges, just taking paper to ink, and I'm just adding ink distressing by swiping my ink pad onto my paper. And this is just going to make this piece of paper pop a little bit on the card base because the card base is white. And you can do as much or as little. So let's see how that looks when we put, yeah. And so I like that. I like doing white on white and then doing some distressing like that. So let's go ahead and adhere this. I, of course, am using my Close to My Heart adhesive. I love this adhesive because it gives me grace. Meaning if and I'm going to move my desk pad so you can see better. And what I mean by that, giving me grace, is if I adhere something and it's crooked, or if I don't like the way it looks, I can pull it back up without ruining my surface. And wouldn't you know, I have been working all day and the phone has never rung, and it's ringing now. So then I'm just going to stick this right on top like that. And then we'll add a sentiment and a few little embellishments, and we will be good. I should have known. I should have taken the phone off the hook because it's election day. I didn't think of that. So I'm going to pull my stamp set back out. And I like this heartfelt holiday wishes. So I'm going to lay this on my all-purpose mat. And before I do that, I am going to clean my fingers a little bit because I got them inky. And I don't want to get ink on my project. So then I'm going to take my block and just pick up my stamp like that so that it's straight. And it's pretty straight. I think I'm going to straighten it out just a little bit. You know, we're going to try it again. All right, so I have my stamp. For these intricate skinny stamps, this is a good way to get them on your block if it doesn't stick to your fingers. All right, and then we'll go like this. Perfect. And let me grab my Harbor ink again. And we'll ink up our sentiment. I think the November stamp of the month has the best sentiments. And I am just going to center this down below. There we go. I'll get my stamp chamois. Are you loving the stamp chamois case? Oh my gosh, I never realized how bad I needed this until we had it. All right, so that is done. And then I want it to just embellish the centers of some of the snowflakes. So I have, again, these are retired. These are snowflake sequence that came out last year, and I love them. And I just need 3. And I'm just going to use my aqua liquid glue and put a dot in the center of those 3 snowflakes. Grab my pickup tool, put one right there. Harbor was my favorite color out of the new colors that launched in August of 2021. My new favorite color in the colors that just launched in August of 2022 is the Seabrook. Now that looks great, but then I thought I would add a little gem to the centers just to give it a little bit more sparkle and a little bit more shine. So I'm just going to take one I should probably get my tweezers. And then there we have our card. So I'm pretty happy with that. It would help if I was in the camera. All right, so now I'm going to put that up to dry, and then let's try the block that we did with the embossing folder. So I have another piece of White Daisy cardstock, and let's go ahead and use Flamingo ink. So I'm going to ink this up. Now I did notice that I did not get really good indentation on some of the areas of this foam, but I'll show you what you can do. So here I'm inking it up a little bit different, where the foam is facing up, and I'm taking my ink pad and I'm kind of twisting. Okay, so I'm really liking how this area looks right here. Not so much a fan of here or here, but let's go ahead and stamp this down and we'll see what we get. And my solution to the parts that I didn't get a good impression, that will probably just be a big area of ink. What I'm thinking we could do is just trim and make this panel a little bit smaller. So let's see how we do. Not bad. I'm liking that a lot. You know, and that doesn't even bother me at all. So we could go ahead and stick this on a card front, and then I could always put a little image here, maybe a snowman or something, or I just cut a bunch of snowflakes out of glitter paper. This would be fun to stick one like that maybe. But before we do this, I participated in the Close to My Heart virtual album retreat last week. And one of the super fun techniques that we did was we used the paint markers. These are Spectrum Noir, but they are actual paint markers. So you can hear the little ball inside to get the ink going. They come in packs of 3. We have gold, we have silver, and we have a copper. And there are different points. So we have the 0.7, which is a fine tip. We have the 3, which is a more bolder tip. And then we have the 4, which is a chisel tip. Now, when you get them, your nib will be white. So to get them started, you want to shake them and then just gently go up and down until you start seeing the ink flow. But what you could do with this is you could outline your projects, your paper, or I mean, you can add gold anywhere. Now, I probably should have my ruler, but I just wanted to demonstrate. So we used to have that gold foil paper, which I loved, but we don't have that anymore. So this is a good solution where you can add gold to your project and without adding layers. So isn't that cool? And then I could add this to a card. I don't have a card base with me, but I could, you know, maybe do something like that and put put my snowflake on with foam tape. And you know what? I'm going to grab a card base just because this is so much fun. And I love this look. Whereas if you were stamping snowflakes, the snowflake would be in pink and the background would be white. So this is just a nice different spin on it. So here's another one of our card bases. They do come pre-scored, but I like to take my bone folder and just give it a nice crisp fold. And then I'm going to adhere this like this. Like this. And then I think I'll put this right on top like that. And I have some little foam dots. So let's see if I could strategically place these so that you don't see them. Just to give it a little bit of dimension. I'm totally winging this, so we'll see. But I'm telling you, this technique is addicting. So we could go like that. And then I could even put one of those little snowflakes and a gem in the center, just to give it some more sparkle. So cute. Now, if we could just have an actual snowstorm here in Charleston, all would be good. But at least I can create my own little paper snowstorm, right? There we go. I don't know if you can see that. It kind of blends in, but the glue dries clear. And that is a super simple card, but I love it. Now, I did create this card the other day when I was playing, and the Enjoy the Magic of the Season is actually from the stamp set right here. And I stamped it with my Versamark and then embossed it with the gold embossing powder, and then I added some gold gems. So 2 different looks here. I'm really liking it. So this is the embossing folder. This is the thin cuts. And then here is the card that we did with the harbor. So when I pulled out my embossing folder with the snowflakes, I came across this one. And this one is, it was from a couple summers ago, and it's got the sand dollars and the starfish and the shells. And I'm thinking this would go really well with our season greetings collection that just went live a week ago today, where the one side is a beach theme and the opposite side is a winter theme. So I might have to try this one next. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed learning this technique, and I hope that you'll give it a try. Some important tips that I did learn is the heat tool definitely works better than the heat gun. And just have fun with it and be creative and get messy. Thanks so much for joining. If you like this video, if you would be willing to click the like button, and would love for you to share it with others, that helps me grow. And I'll be looking forward to coming back with you again for another fun project. Bye for now.